Welcome back to RSA to 2026. I'm Doug White. Joining me today is the amazing Ely Abramovitch, who is the CEO and co-founder. Okay, I've had lots of, it's been Founders Day here, so I've had lots of founders. And this is from Legion Security, which is a cool company that does all kinds of interesting things. And this was called Introducing Legion Investigator Goal-Oriented AI Investigations, which really piqued my interest because I wanted to know immediately what is a kind of investigation are we talking about?
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for having me. Great to be speaking to you. I mean, initially what we've built with Legion is a system, it's a browser-based system that learns how security teams investigate and then scales them into agentic workflows.
Okay.
So basically we see how people respond, we map their workflows, and then we run them agentically, essentially taking repetitive work out of the picture and just empowering people to do more kind of creative and interesting positions. Now, when we started learning about security workflows, we realized that there are various types of them. Some of them are completely repetitive, the same thing every time. And from that, you want kind of more deterministic workflows.
Okay.
But some things are more kind of exploratory. You're trying to figure out what's the answer. And for those, we've built what we call the Legion Investigator. It's basically a goal-oriented AI rather than a task-oriented AI.
Okay.
Meaning, I'll tell the AI, find if there are, what's the scope of breach of this particular email. And it would go, it would craft queries, it would ask questions, it would iterate, and it would come back and give the analyst like a detailed report on what it found. And that's in opposed to like the more traditional playbook-based approaches, which you just do A, B, C, but do not respond.
Yeah, because I mean, I used to teach like AI coding and stuff way back. And you start trying to teach people how you train an AI model, and there are some of those ideas about goal oriented, where you say get to there. I don't care how you get to there. Get to there.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a thing. Or you can give it a playbook and say, optimize the routes, or always turn right, or whatever you're going to do. So you're basically saying that we want to set investigations down to say I need to get to this.
Exactly, and I don't think it's either or actually. Like there are some cases, especially in security operations, where you want to make sure the same steps happen every time. You want the determinism. Security resiliency is rooted in consistency in many cases.
Yes.
But in some other cases, you want to go explore, and for this is where the investigator goes extremely well.
That makes sense to me because I've trained people in investigative techniques for years with police, particularly was where I did all my training, which is a similar kind of problem because you have situations where you want to train a police officer to do a certain thing.
Yeah.
I had a class called What to Do When There's a Dead Computer on the Floor. Yeah. Because they didn't know what to do when they encountered technology. Yeah. They knew what to do if they found a human, whether they were alive or dead or whatever, they knew what to do. But when they found a computer, they just were like, it's a computer, throw it in a bag. But we wanted them to follow a specific set of steps. And so that's one approach. But there's always, what is the old saying, no plan ever survives first contact with the enemy, right?
That's true, yeah.
And so if you're doing investigations and the first step fails, a lot of junior investigators say, I don't know what to do next.
I don't know what to do, yeah. So before the investigator, like sometimes at this point of contact, we had to transfer back to the human. We got to a stage where like the playbook fails and the contact with the enemy, and now we take it to the human. But now with the investigator, we can take it a step further. We can take it to go deeper into the investigation, still keeping humans in the loop when needed. So this works for either for that point of the investigation where the playbook runs out. It's also good for that thing you've never seen before. Like sometimes you run into a situation, you've never been in it, like you don't know what to do. And AI is smart enough today to kind of basically figure things out.
Right.
It's incredible, the evolution of those softwares.
Does that also, so there's another piece of this that I think is kind of interesting. One of the problems you have with investigators when they go off book, at least human investigators, is they may or may not be able to recreate for you how they got from A to Z. They're trying to go through this list, and how do we do that now with this AI-based thing?
It's a very fundamental question that you're asking, because Legion is working with large enterprises, and enterprises cannot really trust something like, hey, just do whatever and let me know how you got to Z. That's like not applicable for the enterprise. the way Legion works is that you define in advance what it's allowed or not allowed to do. You give it the set of actions that the guardrails, if you may, but the set of actions and permissions that it can do. It reasons through them. It's first and then it shows you the train of thought in a very, very detailed way. So you get fully auditable AI. Now, if you want to make sure the same thing runs every time and the AI doesn't kind of improvise, for that we have the more deterministic investigations.
Of course.
But still, even when you want to let AI kind of take more of the control, you want to make sure that everything is auditable, every permission is positively defined, and that you have you can understand exactly what's going to happen in your environment.
So I could just literally say, I want you to go from here to there. AI says, let me get there.
Yeah.
I went down, I turned left, right.
But these are the tools that they've given you to do so.
Right, and then it can give me back and say, this is how I got there.
Yeah.
And I can then refine it if I want to. Or I can say, nope, do it that way every single time forever.
It's true. Many cases what we see is that we first let AI figure it out, but then we realize that there's a pattern, and we move it to a more deterministic or semi-deterministic kind of workflow. It's a really exciting time to be building, because the tools at our disposal are just
amazing.
Really.
I'm just floored by stuff all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Legion reason over situation and systems that it never saw before, and kind of deducing the right patterns of action just based on kind of leveraging frontier models and some of our pre-training. It's a very, very, very exciting time to be building.
I agree, because I remember doing audits back when I first started doing audits, in 2003 or something, and we were doing Sarbanes-Oxley and HIPAA and all these things, and just trying to figure out, how do I investigate this? Because I'm starting with a very vague guideline, maybe, and I have a vague objective, and it's just overwhelming.
Here, there's another point where Legion is interesting, is that when we start with Legion, as I said, we first learn how you investigate, and then we scale it. So we learn how your analysts investigate. We learn from all the team, and we understand your tools, we understand your processes, we understand what you care about and don't care about. It's not a generic model that's deployed in your environment. It's fed by your kind of processes and priorities. So what you get is, as I said, a whole range between fully deterministic and fully non-deterministic, but it's based on your environments, your goals, and your guardrails. I've been adopting, before Legion I was at Microsoft. I led product management for Microsoft Sentinel, and I've seen kind of the deployment of large scale automation in security operations across the world, and it was really important for me to build something that enterprises can adopt, but also that is at the frontier of what AI can do at every given moment. So this is our solution, that full range between fully deterministic and non-deterministic, and full guardrails and full, you set the goal, you set the guardrails.
I think that flexibility is necessary, because everybody has sort of their own approach to investigations. And like I say, there were things that were incredibly strict. If you work for a military organization or something, they may have massive amounts of rules and restrictions about that. Police, you can't look at this. Even if you can see it, you can't look at it, because we're not allowed to look at that. That's excluded by the court or whatever. So you can only look over here. And generic is never going to be able to do that. I mean, you're going to end up with a situation where you say, get from here to there, and it says, okay, I'm there. And you go, no, you can't go that way. And that's not allowed.
I had access to hundreds of researchers at Microsoft. We're a small team in comparison. We're 50 people now. We're smaller than Microsoft. Slightly. But I had access to hundreds of researchers, and we wrote incredible playbooks. And when they met the field, none of them worked. Not because anyone was, not capable or anything, but because environments are different and scenarios are different. This is where learning is important. We learn your environment, and AI, just the ability of AI to adapt to kind of fuzzily defined situations.
The other thing I think I would bring up with this idea is about speed, because I get a little nervous, especially as an incident responder. I mean, my company used to do that, and people would call me and they would say, this has happened, can you fix it? As you move into this modern age, we need to investigate faster, because now the threat is faster, and the repeated threat is faster. I mean, this is where we're going. I mean, into these kind of tools.
Absolutely. And by the way, we have been going in that direction for many years. Attackers are faster. they're more sophisticated, they're more adaptive. They can adapt to kind of new tools and capabilities, sometimes faster than Defender can. It used to be the case that efficiency was important because, you can get more with less and you can kind of respond faster, but now it's critical. It's something that you cannot live without. If attackers are attacking at machine speed, you have to defend at machine speed.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. There's no way around it because you're just not going to be fast enough, even if you're perfectly accurate.
I agree.
Nothing is perfect. No technology has no flaws, and even AI makes mistakes from time to time. But can you really afford not test it? I think you cannot afford to not test
I
this.
think you need to be starting to ramp up on this because, like you said, if attacks are occurring at machine speed, you're going to have to respond to machine speed, and no matter how good of an investigator you are, you're not going to be able to stay on that edge all the time.
And if you're able to, even something as simple as phishing, which is very old technique, but you can now craft a specific email that's adapted to you specifically, that looks at your history and LinkedIn profile and knows what you posted yesterday and whatever, and do so times the entire organizations all at once. You cannot investigate this one by one. And now we're already seeing polymorphic malwares, like malwares that adapt to the network that they're in.
Yep.
The speed from vulnerability to exploit is as fast as you can prompt, basically. So you cannot afford to not react to the same speed and use the same tools. You have to use those tools to defense as well. I really believe that, but I also believe that sometimes when vendors like me say that, they kind of shift the blame to the company, to the customers. Why are you not adopting AI fast enough? What's wrong with you? But that's not my point. My point is that we need to build something that enterprise can adopt, give them the audit, the visibility, and the guardrails that allow them to adopt it, and then work with them so the entire industry can adopt faster. That's really important.
I agree with that. I think another piece of this too that's kind of interesting to me, I remember there was this retiring detective, and everybody was really worried because this was a guy who specialized in certain kinds of cases, which I won't bring up, but he was an expert at doing these kind of cases. He knew exactly where to go, what to ask, who to talk to. And when he was leaving, there was a lot of concern that we were going to lose his expertise. Does this start to help us gel these investigative techniques into our organization?
So. It's a really good point. Basically, we like to say that you capture tribal knowledge before it walks through the door.
Yeah.
And basically, we would learn how that person investigated this particular incident, but now we allow everyone to run that particular incident. So his expertise and his familiarity with this situation is now captured and contained by the organization. So yes, and that person, however good he is, if you had 24/7 of those cases, this guy needs to sleep from time to time. So if we're able to automate even his processes, we're able to A, retain his knowledge, but B, run it continuously and proactively.
And that also lets us identify these cases more rapidly, I think, because it's just like an ER doctor who they see stuff all the time and they know, I know what that means, and they can react accordingly. So I think that gets you on the right path of your investigation maybe faster if you've got this kind of back-end guidance.
The metrics that we're tracking in general for security operations are mean time to detect, and mean time to acknowledge, and mean time to investigate, and mean time to respond. There are others, MTT things in the middle sometimes. So Legion can, as I said, it can be assistive, so it can be just kind of help you be faster, or it can even take on some workflows on its own.
Right.
We have both what we call the guided mode, where we guide you, and also the autonomous mode, in which we investigate on our own. And we track the improvements of those metrics. So you're able to acknowledge much faster, because as soon as it happens, you're able to investigate much faster, because it's at machine speed. And at the end of the day, you're able to resolve or to respond much faster. And we track those metrics. And because we both record and automate, we have a before and after. So you get a weight loss exercise. You know exactly how much time you've saved in each one of those metrics.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Because that is a problem we've had. I know back in earlier days of doing neural nets and things like that, we had a lot of struggles with trying to validate, justify, and so forth, because it was hard to extract exactly how this worked.
No, this is a product where the ROI is very evident.
Okay.
I mean, many security products talk in the terms of risk reduction, which is important, but it's also really hard to quantify it. This really talks, like we can tell you like how many minutes or hours or clicks or days we've saved you. There are other benefits, like you're able to respond faster, which is a risk reduction type, and you're able to respond to more things, which is another risk reduction type response. But there's also a very tangible ROI. This is work that was previously done manually, repetitively, day in, day out, that is now automated.
And that's the stuff I look forward to, because I love it when, especially if it's automated identification that goes, you just do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
I could do that for you. Why don't you worry about this part over here? This thing, you've been doing, every case you do this. Let's just move over here and let you take care of that.
And we also identify those opportunities for automation for you, because when we record, we identify what is repetitive on our own. And by the way, we would not identify the non-repetitive things. Almost by definition, this is not how it works. So the things that are one-offs, yes, you can unleash the investigator on them now that we've released it.
Okay.
But we still keep the humans involved, and in the image, we just keep them doing the things that they're good at. Because let's be honest, like, we're not good at doing the same thing over and over and over again without fail. We get bored. We get bored and we forget. I do. I know. No. But so the repetitive things the machine takes, the less repetitive things are handed over still to human, but with the assistance of the AI.
Well, that sounds really fun. I hope I get a copy of it for free real soon.
Just for you.
Yeah. Well, Ely, thank you so much for joining me today. It was my pleasure to talk to you. To learn more about Legion Security, please visit securityweekly.com/Legion RSAC. For all of our RSAC 2026 coverage from Cyber Risk Alliance, visit securityweekly.com/RSAC. And if you'll hang around, we got more content coming right after this. See you there.